little bit of a contrarian, but still. So I figured today we would go back, check it out, see what we think of it, if it still holds up, because after all, it's now on PC as well. That's right, you can play it on PlayStation 4, 5, or PC, wherever your heart desires. I mean, I think the game looks fantastic graphically. I think it did back in the day, and on PC running at 100 plus frames a second, it looks pretty good. I mean, come on, like, what other zombie game looks this good? Other than, like, The Last of Us. You get what I mean. So in this game, we play as Deacon St. John, which is the most biker hipster name I've ever heard. The guy on the left. Baldy is his friend. Boomer. Is that a Freudian slip? So the majority of the references, at least in terms of culture in this game, are related to biker culture. I'm not a biker. I don't have a motorcycle. No one in my family has a motorcycle, so I don't really relate to it, but it is cool to kind of live vicariously through them. Now at this point, years after the game's launch, we are benefiting from all of the patches and the work that went into the game after it initially came out on PS4 back in 2019. Back when it launched, there were a good number of technical issues, frame rate issues, texture pop-in, all sorts of stuff. If you want to see my full breakdown with my full collection of glitches and stuff, I have a critique I made on the game back in the day. I'll have it linked below. It's a long video, but it goes through the entire thing. Nowadays, we don't really have to deal with all of that because they really polish this thing up.
Google Internetowe Rewolucje oferuje ponad 20 bezpłatnych kursów online. Zdobywaj nowe umiejętności, na przykład podstawy marketingu internetowego.
And it's unfortunate it wasn't polished completely on day one, but you know, that just unfortunately happens a lot nowadays. It is tough because they do have like toddler and kid zombies, and I mean, they're also very aggressive, so you have to beat them to death. It's one of those things, like, you don't really see infected toddlers or kids in other zombie games, because they're like, we just don't really want to do that. But in this game, they are their own, like, subclass of zombie, so they're very agile, they tend to climb stuff, they're sneaky, they only jump on you, they don't try to take you head on. It's different. I don't love it, but it's different. You know what I mean? Down you go. So there's also a bunch of subgroups and factions within the world that are very interesting, including these Rippers, who are like a hyper-religious cult where they worship the infection and they cut themselves and everything. It's an interesting take on it. You know, they're unique. Of the lost. Get low. Shotty got low. Yeah, so we're gonna go in there and kick some butt. Here we go. Yeah, shoulder swapping. Over here! Don't mind me. So this sets up... Oh, right there. Look at that. Look at that. So this is what the game is really known for. Those hordes. Those hordes are something that... I don't know. There's not many games. There was like that World War Z game that sort of tried to do them. But there haven't been many single-player narrative games that have managed to pull it off. And in this game, there are unbelievable numbers of zombies that they can put on screen at any one time, and it leads to some of the most crazy, intense combat sequences you will ever play in a zombie game. Like, truly unreal. But what better way to show off these hordes than to just do one? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go fight a horde. Now this save is much later in the game, full disclosure, so this is gonna take you a little while to get to. At the start of the game, these hordes, it's a bad idea. Don't go after them. I'm running like 2 big machine guns. I've got napalm. I've got Molotovs. I got myself pretty kitted out just for this, so understand it's more of a late game feature. And you know, it's actually a really good thing because it introduces some much needed variety and fun into the late game, because normally in these games, most of the fun is in the big story sequences, and that's about it. Once you get to the end game, it's just tedious collectible running, and it's not that great. But in this game, you work yourself to the end of it, and then you get access to all of these tools, and you can take on these massive hordes, which are really, in many ways, the staple feature of the game. In a lot of ways, the best part of Days Gone doesn't even start until you're 20, 30 hours in. And I think that's part of the reason why so many people gave this game rough reviews at the start and the time that it launched, was for one, because of the technical issues, and also because the first half of the game is spent doing stuff that's not that fun. Like, you're running around trying to collect parts for a motorcycle, meeting people, taking care of Boozer, and that's about it. You're not doing anything crazy, unique, or fun. And it's a bummer because so many people, I think, missed out on what makes this game really special just because the pacing was bad. But you know, it does go to show you can't waste the player's time with this. You really have to respect it, and you got to come out swinging from the start. You can't ease your way into this, because when players buy a game, they're expecting a great experience from the start. They don't want to wait for it indefinitely. Oh God, there's so many. Run! Oh God, this isn't even that many. Oh, okay. And then, like, look what I can do with some Molotovs, and I'll reload while I can. Boom. Okay. Okay. That horde done. Easy. Not that big of a deal. Let's find a bigger one. Okay. I found another horde. We're gonna go in here. Try to cause some trouble. And see what happens. Oh, there's the horde. Hey guys. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna get crazy. Oh, big money. See what I mean? How cool is this? This is awesome. This is what makes this game really stand out. It's just this pure chaos that happens in these moments. And then I light myself on fire. Love it. Oh God, there's so many. Oh no. Okay, we'll funnel them through here. Do I have any? I have some grenades. Okay, I can toss the grenades at them. Okay, okay. A lot of this becomes very positional, very much about getting them through choke points. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, 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 okay. It also depends on your difficulty level. So when you're playing on harder difficulties, your bullets don't do as much damage. So sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 shots each zombie to kill them. And then for other times, if you're playing on like really easy, bullets can travel through the infected and can kill them in one shot. Oh, not like this. Okay, okay, I was able to do it. Okay, okay, we should be okay. Okay. And we did it. Okay, okay. It gets crazy, man. Like, it really does get crazy. But this is what makes this game so fun and unique, is you can just go out and you're trying to clear these hordes. And initially, it seems so impossible, and then it works. And you figure it out, and you can do it. It's great. It's great. I love it. The little dopamine rush is tremendous. And then we clear out these nests just to make sure the zombies don't come back, because if you kill all the zombies and then you don't clear out the nest, they'll just respawn. So you want to make sure you clear the nest every time you come here, and then we bug out just like that. It's pretty great. Run into a fence and then we bug out. There we go. Pretty great. There's a bunch of other little touches. So for example, all of the ammo and crafting, that's all based on item collection in the world. So it gives you a reason to stop at different locations, check cars and vehicles, semis, houses, everything, to make sure.
Właśnie tak smakuje świat. Ruszaj na kulinarną wyprawę do Litwy i spróbuj smaków inspirowanych Ameryką. Boczek bez kości 12,99 za kilogram. Pizza różne rodzaje 6,99 i wiele innych produktów w stylu amerykańskim.
Sure that there's nothing of use around, because sometimes you find some cool stuff, such as this right here, finding some scrap I can use. And then as we go through the game, we unlock new abilities, new weapons, all that we can craft on the go, even in combat. So when you get in those situations that are really sticky, you can quickly craft a Molotov cocktail, toss it into the horde, and then keep running and going. It's pretty good. Now, as we've seen, there are different sized hordes, so it's always kind of up in the air as to what you're going to be dealing with. The map is also pretty interesting. So it marks all of the points of infestation, all of the places where human enemies are located, in addition to the hordes. And the map itself is pretty expansive and pretty big. There's a lot to do and a lot to see. It's important to note that the first half or so of the game is going to be relegated to this chunk of the map over here, which is just fine. And then later you're going to push up through the mountains into this late game area where the big hordes hang out, where the really cool stuff happens, and where the game also will eventually meet its end. But after the main story, you're going to go through here and you just continue clearing out hordes, camps, and basically wiping the map of all enemies, and it works really well. But like even this isn't technically a horde. This is just a bunch of infected that are hanging out here on the side of a river. Like this isn't a scripted or specifically placed group of enemies. These enemies just collected here based on the AI, which is pretty cool. And if we decide to clear them, because why not, let's just toss some stuff in there. Maybe napalm too. And let's just get crazy. I didn't reload my RPD. Oh no, okay. We're okay. See what I mean? Like it seems horrifying. It's not the end of the world. Okay, might be the end of the world. Okay, hold on. Let's toss. Oh God, no, not again. Okay. Oh, we're okay. I'm okay. Oh God. Okay, we're just gonna reload everything. Just trying to clear them out a little, thin out the herd. Run. I got one more healing kit. That's okay. This guy. Keep running. Stamina management is very, very important here. It's all about juggling that. And that's a system I actually really, really like. Because if you could just perpetually sprint, it wouldn't be much of a challenge. But because you can sprint to get out in front of the herd, and then you can go in, turn around, take some shots, let your stamina recover while you're firing, and then keep just cycling that, it works really well. And it feels a lot more fair. How did I not hit him with any of those? Boom. But okay, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are some problems. Like I mentioned, the pacing is really, really rough. the developers just straight up spend half of the game having you do stuff that isn't particularly fun, meeting characters who are pretty stiff, and it's just a bit of a trudge. And then in the last half of the game, it's totally different. You feel like you're playing a totally different game. And it's actually interesting because I made a video back in the day, some of you who've been on the channel for a long time might remember this, where I said basically, I don't like Days Gone, it doesn't do anything well. And I had played the game for however many hours at that point, but I wasn't really past that big halfway point where the game changes a lot. And I was like, the game just isn't very good based on what I've played. And I stood by that, and I still stand by that today. It just wasn't good. But then you get to the second half of the game that's so good, it feels like a totally new game that's just a blast, and it totally changes your perception. But it's weird, because how do you evaluate a game like that? How do you evaluate a game where half of it is just not very good at all, and then half of it is really, really, really good? I don't know. I'm being attacked by crows. I mean, the best way I can put it is to just say clearly, like, the game is good, but you gotta give it time, and you gotta get past that halfway point. And if you're a player who just doesn't feel like doing that, that's okay. Nothing's wrong with you. You just value your time. But just understand that's what the game demands of you. I'm sorry, my phone keeps going off. I'm waiting for a package where I have to sign for it, so I'm leaving my phone on, and it just keeps dinging. But the real tragedy with Days Gone is that while the game is really, really good, especially if you give it that time, the sales and performance just weren't where Sony needed them to be. They were hoping this would be like a huge new franchise in their docket and repertoire, and it was off to a really slow start, so they just didn't take it very seriously. They started putting it on sale, and it was sort of the black sheep of the family. And pretty soon, they eventually announced that they were bringing it to PC, which so far they've only done for sort of some, like, either their big AAA hyper successful games like God of War and Horizon, or they do it for the sort of black sheep games that didn't perform as well as they were hoping, such as Death Stranding or Days Gone. We also found out that they canceled what would have been the sequel for Days Gone. Effectively, what it seems like happened is the studio behind Days Gone, Sony Bend Studios, they pitched a sequel to Sony, and Sony declined it. They just didn't think it was in the cards, which is unfortunate because I think the sequel could have taken everything that this game did really, really well and just taken it up a notch, and it would have been so much better. They could have fixed the technical problems, they could have refined the gameplay loop, fixed the pacing. So many things could have been improved, and it could have been so great, but Sony executives just weren't interested in it. You know, it's one of the things that's kind of pissed me off about Jim Ryan's Sony. You know, Sean Layden, when he was at the helm of PlayStation and in charge, he greenlit a lot of projects, including Days Gone, and gave a lot of studios a first.
Twoja broda rośnie codziennie, dlatego codziennie się golisz. Big Hybrid Flex posiada wymienne wkłady z tytanowymi ostrzami do ultra gładkiego golenia. To doskonałe golenie. I tak teraz ma wymienne wkłady.
First chance to do something really amazing, and we got some of the best games of the generation that way. Whereas Jim Ryan, the best way I can put it, oh God, the best way I can put Jim Ryan is that he seems like, it's almost like the Tim Cook Apple situation, where I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he just gives me the vibe that he's a corporate dude and not a gamer dude. Sean Layden was a gamer who was also a corporate manager, whereas Jim Ryan is just a corporate manager. I would be shocked if he actually plays any of the games that PlayStation puts out. Like, genuinely shocked. Ow. Oh no, I'm getting swarmed. Oh God. Oh, this might be it. Oh no. My bad. Do I have any? Okay, I got some stuff. Oh, come on. Run, run, run. But the reason I bring up Tim Cook and Apple is because when Steve Jobs stepped down because of his health problems and Tim Cook took over, everybody got the vibe that Apple, like the artistic Apple, was kind of dying out, and that it was soon going to be taken over by these corporate dudes who were just interested in improving the bottom line and the bottom dollar. They didn't actually care about the artistic side of Apple's design philosophy, which is what made them really stand out from the beginning, right? And that's what I get from Jim Ryan too, is that it just seems like he's not that interested in video games. He's not that interested in the art form. He's interested in maximizing PlayStation America's revenues, and that's it. And that just, it sucks, because we've already seen that he's struggling to get AAA exclusives out the door. There's been tons of delays, tons of issues getting projects actually out the door. And I just don't have a lot of confidence in his leadership. Maybe he'll surprise me later in the generation, but as of right now, I'm not that thrilled with how he's been running things. But you know what? It's probably just because I'm pissed we won't ever get, at least not for a long time, a sequel to Days Gone. Because this game really is tremendous in a lot of ways. There's so much it does well, so much of it that's just totally unique in the zombie action-adventure game space. It's just so unfortunate that a lot of people didn't give it a chance because of its early issues, and a lot of people won't get to give it a chance just because it's sort of drifting off into obscurity as the years tick by. But you know what? Maybe you watching this video right now or looking at this, you haven't played Days Gone, you didn't want to give it a chance, and you're thinking, wow, this game actually looks like it could be pretty fun. And if you feel that way, go check out the game on Steam or on PlayStation. You can play it there. Have a great time. Let me know if you do. I'd like to know what you think of it. But that's kind of the idea behind these videos, is we go back to these franchises, some of them fantastically successful, some of them sort of more obscure and forgotten. And then we look at them through modern eyes. And there's a lot of great stuff about them. There's a lot of problems too. But in this case, I mean, Days Gone is still tremendous. It's just unfortunate that they got off to such a terrible start. You know, it's like that saying from Miyamoto, a delayed game is eventually good, whereas a rushed game is never good. And in the case of Days Gone, I think they eventually got it to a spot where it's a good game. I think it's good. It's definitely not as great as it could have been, but it's really, really good. But if they had been given the time, if they had really figured out the technical problems before launching, I think this game would be on the same level of hype that we've seen from many other Sony AAA exclusives. I really think it could have been a staple franchise, whereas right now it looks like it's just going to be forgotten as one of the one-off Sony exclusives that they experimented with and just didn't work. But you know what, if you actually end up going and playing Days Gone and you end up really enjoying it, let Sony know on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. Flood them with your praise and admiration for the game, because they do hear that. And if enough voices speak up, they're eventually going to go like, hey, maybe we should just like greenlight a sequel. There's a big cult following for this game. Maybe we should just let Sony Bend take another crack at it. And that's happened before with other franchises, so there's no reason to think it won't work here. But until the day when we get a sequel, we're just going to have to keep playing this one, which is fine because it's really, really good, and it's on PC now, so you can play it at like native 4K, 100 plus frames a second, and have a great time. But that'll do it for me. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe for new content. I have a few big critiques coming out in the next couple of weeks on Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring, and Kingdom Come Deliverance, so if you want to get notified of those when they launch, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. But that's it for me. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Nowość. Genesis OM. Pielęgnacja przeciw utracie gęstości włosów. Moc składników dla podwójnego działania. 5 razy pełniejsze, 85% mocniejsze włosy. Kerastase.
Prezesie Kuleszy i tak działa, ma swój instynkt, ma jak gdyby swoje doświadczenie z pracy z trenerami. My też gdzieś tam się spotkaliśmy krótko w tym Białymstoku, ale wiedział jakim człowiekiem jestem. Myślę, że to też było dla niego istotne, wiedział na co może liczyć i myślę, że cieszę się bardzo, że się nie zawiódł i ja też mogę w jakiś sposób mu się odwdzięczyć.
Dziękujemy bardzo.
Ja również dziękuję. Pozdrawiam i
Pozdrawiamy.
życzę samych sukcesów.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Pozdrawiam. Mati Cash i Zalewski to jest dwóch zawodników, którzy poniekąd rozkochali w sobie kibiców. Być może to jest trochę za duże słowo, może na wyrost, ale dali taką nadzieję, że nasza piłka być może stanie się chociaż trochę efektowna, że zobaczymy akcję indywidualną, dribbling, dobre podanie, jakąś wizję. Co ty możesz o nich powiedzieć po tym?
Zobacz, mówisz o tym rozkochaniu, zobacz.
No tak, to zdjęcie wszyscy widzieliśmy.
Ale nie, zobacz co napisali, bo to jest,
Aha,
nie jest
to
zdjęcie.
mogę pokazać, czy nie?
Możesz, myślę, że się Mati nie obraził, ma dystans do siebie.
Możemy zbliżenie zrobić? Róbcie zbliżenie, trzymam. Pod zdjęciem.
Ciężko będzie widać.
Chyba widać, tak? Czy...
Mati przysłał mi tą wiadomość,
Reżyserka widać, nie?
zanim ukazała
Dobra.
się w social mediach. Przebywał na Mykonos i tam też spotkał się z Nikolą Zalewskim i gdyby nie to zgrupowanie, to pewno by się tak blisko nie poznali przez te 16 dni i mieli okazję się bliżej poznać. No i napisał miłą wiadomość, ja im też życzyłem udanego urlopu. Napisałem tylko, żeby Mati dbał o naszego Nikolę, żeby się tam gdzieś nie zawieruszył, obiecał, że to zrobi. Także chcę pokazać, mówiąc o tym, chcę pokazać, jakie relacje panują w tej drużynie. To nie jest tak, że wszyscy się kochają, wszyscy się lubią, bo też jest rywalizacja na pozycjach. Ktoś będzie grał, ktoś nie będzie grał, ktoś pojedzie, ktoś nie pojedzie. I na pewno będzie rozczarowanie. Ja się z tym liczę, że ostatecznie jak ogłosimy, powołamy we wrześniu 28, maksymalnie 30 piłkarzy na zgrupowanie, czyli weźmiemy niewielu więcej niż tych, którzy mogą jechać, czyli 26